Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. If you have plans for 7 o'clock, well, it's time to get ready to execute those plans. Now, before the break, we spoke to Mark Edgehill from the TTCSI, and he said his members were split in terms of support of the SOE. Now, with regards to vaccination, he however, had a very steady, stern, direct position. Vaccination is our way out of the pandemic. And here to talk about the positive and negative attitudes towards vaccination, we now welcome clinical psychologist Isolda Ali Gent. Isolda, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Now, what is the psychology behind people's actions towards vaccination?
You know, at the end of the day, we have a very mixed sort of viewpoint, but I think by and large people recognize, and the science is out there, that it really is very, very important that we are able to save lives, save ourselves, and do the responsible thing by being vaccinated.
All right, what do you think is fueling the resistance by some to vaccination?
Hans, at the end of the day, I think the whole world, and we do know this, has been traumatized by the coronavirus. Globally, locally, we have seen such heightened fear, the isolation, the unknown. We've never had anything like this. Our parents have never had anything, so we really weren't prepared for this. So we have to rely on those in authority, those in the know, to guide us accordingly. So we are existing and have been existing for at least the last year and a half in a state of fear. And when we live in a state of fear, we're not necessarily driven by logic. This is the survival loop that the coronavirus has triggered. And the predator is the coronavirus, a very smart virus. But at the end of the day, people are looking also for other sources to blame and mistrust.
Now, what has the feedback been like to you from patients and people that you would have been interacting with in terms of this fear of vaccination? What are some of the common threads that you're hearing?
A lot of it, honestly, is just fed by those pseudoscience articles and blogs that are not based on science, on the research, on WHO or BBC or CDC standards. They're taking one part of something and blowing it up, these conspiracy theories. I think social media has really, really played a big part in promoting this fear. And of course, they're doing this as a means for marketing, because fear keeps people hooked, keeps you looking on. So you join this site and this site and this site, and you're getting fed all of this nonsense. Whereas if you stick to the facts and look at science, it's okay to question, but go to the credible sites. So social media is a big part of it, and just people not doing their research. It's still going back to almost like sort of tribal war, us against them. Pick a side.
Oh, wow. Now, you mentioned something about marketing and a lot of people driving the fear because it's part of their bigger marketing plan to get more attention, to get more views, get more likes. Is it, well, let me take it back. In terms of the big companies all over the world, they have psychologists on their communications and marketing teams as of recently. As a psychologist, let me understand, how do we communicate best in terms of the facts, the information that needs to be put out there, and are we doing it wrong?
It boils down to establishing a sense of safety and trust. So if there is an inherent sense of mistrust, we have to address that. So we are pack animals, right? Human beings, it is ingrained in us to be part of a tribe, part of a pack, part of a community, because that ensures our survival. And at the end of the day, that is what our brain's main goal is, to ensure our survival. Not necessarily happiness, but survival. So in order to do that, we have to really emphasize the need for community and keeping our community safe. So how do you see your community? Is your community, do you live in an extended home? Are there multiple generations there? You want to keep the little ones and the older ones, those who are vulnerable, safe. There are people who cannot get vaccinated, and let's not forget them as well. It's not a choice for them. It is a reality, so we need to keep them safe too. We must be our brother's keeper in that sense, and do the right thing and do the ethical thing by trying to keep ourselves and others safe. So we need to communicate this in terms of, if you want to be part of your community, if you want to be, be able to visit your relatives safely, or to live in a home safely, and because a larger population, at least in the States, I was reading there and was told that children are making up quite a significant percentage of hospitalizations due to the Delta strain.
Okay.
And they can't get vaccinated.
Isolda, no, don't mean to cut you across, but we have limited time, and I really want to find out from you. In terms of communicating, we've been communicating and we've been hearing both sides of the vaccination argument, and it seems that everybody is shouting at each other. How do we communicate, understand each other, and not be divided by our views on vaccines?
Well, this is where I think also our community leaders are very, very important here to communicate with our community leaders, to be able to pass the message. Fear makes people vulnerable, and honestly, people don't like that feeling. So they see a lot of the anger and the rage and the fight, flight, or freeze when our worry brains get triggered. So if we can get as much community spirit and have everybody speaking the same language, then we can pass that down to people within our sectors. But if we have people who are promoting the opposite, then there will be that divide, and you're going to get more resistance and pushback. So we need to be able to lead with facts, because when we lead with fear, fear isn't evidence-based. We need to have that evidence that will push us forward. And the truth of the matter is that you're safer if you are vaccinated.
Thank you very much, Isolda Ali-Jen. Thank you for being here on the Now Morning Show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.